Alright guys, here we go. This is modifying educational strategies for the visually impaired. PowerPoint will be done by Jeremiah Jackson and Jose Areola. How is this an educational challenge? Overcoming educational challenges is vital to enabling a student with a visual impairment to reach his or her full academic potential. Challenges of visual impairment. Students will have a hard time safely maneuvering around a classroom. Gotta keep as much clutter down as possible for a visually impaired student. Also, conceptualizing and visualizing objects that are hard of seeing or sometimes blind have a hard time reading or seeing things in a book, so they need more visual and 3D type materials. They also another challenge is reading, writing, and drawing. These are quite obvious, but depending on the severity of the visual impairment, these could be anything from something simple to something that's almost impossible for somebody with a visually impaired student. And also operating standard educational tools, stuff that normal students take for granted. Pens, pencils, especially calculators. Students with visual impairments have a very, very difficult time operating. What is visual impairment? Visual impairment is the functional limitation of the eyes or the vision system. Some examples are visually impaired students can do virtually all the activities that sighted children take for granted. Like I said, like operating pens and calculators and pencils. They do often need to learn in different ways or using different tools or materials. Children with visual impairment need to have access to both written and oral instruction, which is very important, as well as demonstrations in all subject matter. Some modifications and accommodations that can be used. Hands-on experience is very, very key in helping a visual impaired student. Real-life pictures or actual objects that you can use in instruction will come in very handy and be very useful to their learning. Modeling, instead of just pictures, actual models can be used, such as something to do with the solar system or cars, getting things into their hands that they could feel and actually use their sense of feel, because it's probably a lot more stronger than ours are as people with most of our senses. Clear direction. Explicit language needs to be used. So instead of just saying, hand your paper over to here, you explicitly tell a visually impaired student, pass your papers to the right, or pass your papers to the front, so they know exactly what needs to be done. Easily readable visual aids. Larger print on papers and brighter fonts to help them see the words and text better. It's very difficult if you're doing teaching out of a book, but there are things that you can use to help them with larger print and brighter fonts. Peer help. A classmate helps take notes for the visually impaired student. So they're there listening to the notes, but they will have a hard time writing them down. So if you have a classmate that's very good and above average or excels in the class, you could have them help the visually impaired student, and it would help a great deal. They also need extra time to finish their assignments because, like I said, they have a hard time seeing or using the materials and operating things. So giving them a little bit of extra time here and there is vital and helps them as well. Some specialized modifications. Avoid visual scanning activities. So something where they have to look back and forth, or something where they're going to have a hard time keep adjusting to visually is imperative. I mean, it is very difficult teaching a classroom and not moving around. We all know that. But trying activities that can be stagnant, I guess to say, helps them out quite a bit. I also avoid visual clutter materials. Allow for bold markers and pens for them to use. Like I said earlier, it helps them see better writing and what they're able to do on the paper. Use bold line paper. Abbreviated homework. This doesn't mean that they don't have to do what the other children have to do. They do have to do it, but modify the homework to where it's a little bit different. Getting to A to point D, but instead of going through A, B, C, maybe go A to C and make it a little bit more simpler. Oral test instead of written test. This is This is very good for visually impaired students because instead of fretting about having to write something down, they could use oral and they could actually speak it better. Oopsie daisies, what do we do here? And also, like I said, modify the assignments, make them a little bit shorter and not as much text and anything for them to read. And Jose will continue on with our next slides and how we can use these in the classroom and be more effective. Thank you.